Time for a new project in the trailer. Now, I haven't done any videos with the trailer yet, so you're kind of getting a little early view of it. You're going to see the system I've got now for power-wise. I've got a basic non-lithium compatible controller, little Denso battery here, and this is all just to one outlet. This is separate. I'm not even messing with this yet, although in the future this might be wired into something. This is shore power. This is a standalone solar dedicated for CPAP. Well, that's going to be in the future, but as of now it's house lights, and that was about it. And there's a USB outlet and a 12-volt outlet, so you could charge a phone, whatever, charge a tablet. But this battery is toast. It is a 35 amp hour SOA, which is sealed lead acid AGM battery. Has served well, but it is time and it is dead. So I'm going to do a quick basic, really kind of rough core level lithium battery swap the controller to a lithium compatible, and kind of share the adventure and a few tips and a few basics. And this video is also going to be short. I'm not going to do one of these long videos and every single step, but with some research you could do exactly the same in your little mini trailer. One of the things also I'm going to show you is what I'm getting now with my existing system. You can kind of see it is just a dead battery. There is no charge being held. Currently 10.5 volts. The battery is toast. The solar I have disconnected, and that'll have a little pop in as well. But you can see right now there's a warning sign, light blinking, saying hey, it's deader than dead, but the battery's actually toast. It's dead shorting. One of the things I'll also explain here is if you look at this entire cabinet, there's not a ton of room. You'll see as you come around, there's kind of sidewall of the ice box over here. Let me see if I can get a little better light in there. Side of an ice box. So there is a void behind here in the cabinet. So every install is going to be different. You're not going to have a play-by-play guide. And that's the wheel well as well behind on the left side. So if you look in here, there's wheel well. So it's not the biggest amount of room, but I do have some gapping underneath here, which I will fit in a 100 amp hour lithium battery. So as of now, main thing I would say is go ahead and mark all these connections. Use some painter's tape. You'll see solar in. Those wires will be changed because I'm going 100 amp hour. I want some thicker, proper gauge wire. Do your research, check the recommendations for the manufacturer for the size controller and panel and wiring. Next will be the battery positive negative. Those I may keep if it's the same length, so I'm going to mark them and then we'll show you what basically painter's tape and a Sharpie will do. Next after that is going to be house lights. That's the most important because those guarantee those wires will stay the same. I'm not changing out my house light wiring at this time. Alright, so with that, I've now marked all the positive and negative on the house lights, which will be the same as the new controller. It'll have a dedicated ability to turn on or off the load. Battery positive, negative. I am not on my job here currently doing the solar positive, negative, or wasting my time labeling it because I will be pulling in new wires for the new panel. I'm going from an 18 watt panel to 100 watts, so there is going to be a need for upgraded wire. As well as with this, you'll see that the new controllers be about the same size, so I should have no problem at all fitting it into here. And it's going to be a matter of tearing it out and seeing how everything's going to be laid out. Like I said earlier, not every trailer is going to be the same, so I can't give you a how-to guide, but I can show you what I'm doing and my install. As of now, it's going to be a matter of taking all this out, ripping it out, getting the new battery, and then figuring out positioning and mounting of everything as I go. No set way to do it. I'll also show you in a minute here where the wire will be coming in from the solar, and then from there it's start up and do it. I'm not going to sit here and record every single step either, not making a long video. But basically, here's upgrading from a basic solar controller system to a lithium, or you could also do this as a basic system in a older trailer without the sub panels and everything and still have your house lights. I'm primarily doing it for CPAP, so think of it as vintage trailer, vintage egg trailers, fiberglass trailers, CPAP ability, and house lights. That's the main two. I've still got an old-fashioned icebox in this. Alright, switching to handheld because my gimbal just died, but either way. So, the wires come in here. There's a hole that's kind of drilled. It's harder to see from this angle. Up and underneath the nose. Out, and it's going to run to the side, so that's going to be the same path I'm going to be having to run the new wires for the solar system, but should be a challenge. Alright, well, this is going to be the hardware going in. We have a 100 amp hour battery underneath, cables from charge controller to outside the trailer, and then from the trailer out to the solar panel, which is going to be a 100 watt solar panel. I'll show it later, but this is the internal components as well as a little bit external. And yes, this video is not sponsored by anybody, so I'm covering up company names. Any companies want to reach out for further parts, shunts, whatever, fuses, interfaces, hit me up. But otherwise, yeah, for everybody else, that's it. Not very much needed for a basic system. And I'll do ring terminals and everything in more detail later. We're going to do the quick and rough install and get it up and going. Well, I was hoping to show everybody a great happy working system, because as we discussed before, it's pretty simple in the installation. Power out, house lights, and a outlet which has nothing hooked up to it at the moment. Battery and solar panel. But here's what we're getting now. Repetitive errors. It cycled. I'll put a little sample clip in here, or maybe I'll figure out how to overlay it in editing. Decided to check. It's been about 2.5 days. Wanted to let everything sit and let it run, and you can see how the whole system is fit in. Everything's wired. Battery's not secured yet because that was upcoming. Glad I didn't yet, and I didn't fully button all these cables down because cable management is going to be a future step, but this was really short, quick, and easy. Error 2, error 4. When I hit the button here to show status, 22 volts at the panel, 0 amps, then this battery thing just goes freaky deaky. Up, down, up, down. And it says battery there. Say battery is 17, 17.1, 16. Now it's going down. Earlier it was going up to like 22. So I don't know. This controller is completely worthless. And it's in E04. So I'm about to cover up my panels so I can disconnect them. That is something to remember. Always disconnect and connect panels when they're cold. And do not connect your controller to the panels until the battery and everything else is hooked up and you've switched over to lithium ion configuration, which I have done. But as of now, yeah, I'm about to rip this thing apart and take it out. And I also need to check on the battery up here. And let's hope this hasn't overcharged it. The internal BMS should have protected the battery, but I don't know at this point. I covered these up because no one was sponsoring me whose brand is what, but as of now, yeah, I'll see how they handle the situation. I've already been talking with the company for the weird on house lights and just the power outlet with under a watt of drain, and it freaked out. And now this, yeah. Alright, I'm cutting this off and rip this apart. Well, it's time. The new controller's here. Amazon didn't pack it for crap. You don't put a solar controller in a regular bag, but I was going to wait and see everything went. I was also not putting brands and models because of the fact of no one sponsored me. It's out of my pocket, so why should I give someone else credit? But I will say, here's a charge controller to avoid. 2 defects out of the box. First one was house lights came up low, emailed Renogy, sent them a video showing how it was working. In fact, I'll even throw a clip in here, which you'll see they're overlaid, or who knows how I'll edit it in. But from the crazy low outlet startup, really low voltage, surges, and then comes up to normal. And then the E0408 trying to overcharge my battery. Not cool. It lasted all of maybe 2 days. Let me, so yeah, I don't know. This thing is worthless. I'm definitely saying this is a model and make to avoid. Renogy Wanderer, I've lost all faith and trust in it. You could try your odds, but yeah. $400 lithium battery I really don't want being overcharged and too much voltage sent through. Granted, it does have BMS, but BMSs can't always protect everything, or if it says BMS, just let something through for too long and something else fries along the line. So yeah, this is one to avoid. Ripping this thing out. Goodbye, Wanderer. You are out of here. Side note as well, since this is going to be installation number 2, this is why you do not undo your labels marking positive and negative until you are completely 100% sure it's going to be problem free, and run it for a few weeks. Make sure there's no issues that creep up or pop up. 3 days in, I got the freak out from the Wanderer, and yeah, saves me some hassle, some time. Little side note, when you're getting your controller, you don't plan on being in just a plastic bag. So yeah, this is what happens when Amazon uses just a straight plastic bag. Thanks, Amazon. Great packing. Kind of shocking, but I'm still going to install it, because when you actually look at the controller itself, luckily Renogy at least does a 4-way foam pack, and the crush is on the corners where it's not at, although it shocks the internals. But this is what we're going with. I'm giving Renogy one final try. Rover Series 20 amp MPPT with the Bluetooth. So this is supposed to basically let you customize everything, charge parameters, and hopefully not go defective and wig completely out. So there's plenty of unboxing videos out there. I'm not going to waste time in unboxing it, but this is what's going in, and then I'll show you everything after. Alright, well, we got it mounted, and as of now, I had to add some wood down below and kind of build it back out to where it's flush. They recommend 6 inches of clearance. I don't have 6. So the email I just also got today ended up saying basically a 100 amp hour lithium with a 100 watt solar panel. They said, well, maybe this little junker wasn't sufficient. Yeah, I don't know how. So we ended up having to go with overkill, but now I've got Bluetooth. Also upgrading to MPPT, 20 amp capacity. I'm not even planning on using close to all that. But I did have to build out the base, kind of make it all flush, and gave what clearance I have, you know, their own suggestion. Use something else. Use a higher capacity. Well, that's great in theory. When you're working with 13-inch or 13-foot camper, you don't have a lot of room. There's a wheel well behind this, so you can see the top edge of it. Spot for the controller. Wiring comes in. Next to that is an ice box. So we are not loaded with space in this. So I don't know. We'll see if this one is shot, and hopefully this is good and stable. The Amazon part sucked. Just throw it in a plastic bag and you know, let it get smashed around. But we do what we can do. Anyhow, I didn't want to bore you guys with the whole install of how to cut wood, screw the wood into the other piece behind it, and then re-secure it. So as of now, here's the next step, and the next step will be running the wires. It's almost the same as the last one. We've got solar in, battery, and then the load. I need to do a little research to talk with Renogy though, because the manual says don't use a high draw load on the load out sockets. Well, what's their consideration? They don't give an amperage, they don't give a wattage. Kind of need more info than just don't hook up high loads. Obviously we're not going to try and do an inverter to it, But can it handle 80 watts? Can it handle 50 watts? 10 watts? Like, what's high limit? I'll have to reach out to them, and maybe I'll put a note at the end of the video. Anyhow, so one of the other common complaints is the Regi measures about 0.2 volts low. So I am preemptively going to go ahead and just do my own comparison. I've seen a couple videos where it's been great and dead on. Go ahead and hook up negative to negative and do this one-handed, and here's where we're hooking up to. I'm going to leave you down here though so I can get this wedged in somewhere, just balance it. Last I checked, this battery is 14.13 volts. Looks like we settled at 13.7. That is current voltage, 13.71. So now we'll go ahead and hook up power, tear off the little sticker, and then go from there. A little easier to read it now, but yeah. Same issue. I guess these just are generically known to be inaccurate. Got 13.6. We just did that test. So 13.7, 13.6. There you go. Actually, both same frame. So yeah, I don't know what's with that. 0.6, 0.1. Now it doesn't, of course, give me the third digit. I'll see what the app shows. But as of now, that's an interesting one. So that's take two, I guess, of second controller. First Wanderer was a waste of my time and faulty hardware. So, yep, as of now, this is looking like it's set up. It is 13.71 shows up as 13.6. That's a little annoying, but we'll see what the app says. I may have to just fine-tune my custom settings to match up with what I need, and take the error into correction, or into mine, and do a correction on the edge settings. So that's it for now. Wire management will be done later. As of now, if this thing keeps doing good, this will be the end of the video. If this craps out like the Wanderer did, then I'll be back with a continuation. So do me a favor, hit like, share, subscribe. You know, all the stuff that makes YouTube's algorithm actually have other people see the video and continue on enjoyment. I'll probably have other projects coming up with this. For now, that was basically a fiberglass vintage trailer solar system swap. As of now, you do see on the left over here, there's a couple 110 lines which will be left out, not connected to anything until I figure out something otherwise. I may have to switch the connector they're on. But I have no other needs. It's a whole system for one single outlet. So if you do get shore power, you get the option. Alright, for now, it's a one stud puppy. I'm out, and be good to each other. Later.